gnarly branches. Something semi. Stuff. Shall see. I don't like those gnarly ones. Welcome. Mm-hmm. Well, hey, welcome in. It is Dean and Marie. Welcome. Dean and Marie. Hold on a second. Let me catch up with the reading here. Good evening. Hi, Marie. Yes, and Dean. Yes, he's given it the usual 2 to 5 minutes. Yeah, 2.5 minutes is what, but we've been having some heavy rains here. And actually, if you saw, I actually saw a tornado, caught one on a live stream, which nobody had come into, but it was interesting nonetheless. At least I caught it on camera. It was a very destructive tornado. It was formed right there in St. John where I was and went all the way to Maryville and did a lot of destruction in Maryville. Let me see if I can't get this. So I'm dealing with wet wood because none of this was tarped. I don't like to burn my good oak wood. So I have this maple that's split, ready for just campfire woods. Anyway, we had a thunderstorm downpour earlier. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the one that left this area and kept going that way to Pennsylvania. Anyone here into government journalism, accountability? Visit Huntington Township Watch. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she does an excellent job at journaling, recording, making records of what her local township and affiliate townships that gather together to just try to decide that they are they know what they're doing, but when they really don't have a plan, well, their plans are never right anyway. Yeah, us two, we had 14 viewers, but we need our host, and now we're back to 4, 5. Yeah, we're at 5. I'm suffering from township political fatigue. Oh, I bet. You building? Yeah. I don't blame you, Marie, and I sure can't acknowledge enough how above and beyond all of you at HCW do. Oh, yeah. Fire pits are cool to have. We didn't have any rain today, but this whole last week we had so many just gully washers, and all the wood is wet. I actually had a small fire this morning, just burning off some cardboard and a few branches. I did have a huge branch break and drop down across my driveway during the high winds with the tornadoes. We had 3 tornadoes in northwest Indiana, all around the same hour. And the most dangerous, deadly tornadoes seem to be the ones that show up right at evening or dusk. And that tornado that I caught forming was actually forming about an hour and a half, or an hour to an hour and a half before sunset. I saw that. I wasn't going to pick on you over it. That's the beauty of being able to edit videos and things. You make a mistake, you can be like, back the track up. Back that train right up. Oh, am I not loud enough? I don't know what's going on. I'm actually using the other phone that has a better mic, I think. Oh, YouTube AI just suggested that I do a question and answer they do that a lot when you do a live stream in vertical. Ask them a question. How do you like your marshmallows toasted? So AI's like, oh, he's on a fire. He's got a fire going, so ask them how they want their marshmallows toasted. Okay, cool. Yeah, They really just kind of skate by. Oh, it's a beautiful evening. It was windy as heck today. I had a problem with a door I bought from Pella Windows. About 20 years ago, I bought a sliding door, brand new, middle of the road series, and uh, it looked pretty good. It worked pretty good for a while, but then all of a sudden, after 8 to 9 years, the wheels on the sliding door started to get really wonky and rusted up, and they weren't sliding as good. I pulled the um, door, because sliding doors you just have to lift up and swing it out. Sometimes you might have to adjust wheels to get them out, but usually if it's adjusted properly. And I pulled it out and I found out the bottom of the door hadn't been painted. Right from the factory, they made an exterior door with it was clad with aluminum wrap and caulked and sealed, except for the bottom was bare, um, bare wood. I'll show you. And so it had already started to rot because it's the north side of my house and doesn't get a lot of sun. And so this is what I found. So this is the top of the solid door. It was bare wood, and it was like that on the bottom. Yeah, this is the bottom of the door. An exterior door where they made it. And this was a pocket where the rollers were. And this was a pocket where the rollers were. And it had finally collapsed. I tried to keep it going and doing delicate repairs with it to try to make it waterproof over the years, and to no avail. The damage had already been done. I was very upset because when you buy an exterior door, who lifts it up and looks at the very bottom when the whole door is watertight, waterproof? Who looks at the bottom of the door to see if it's been sealed? You would think it would be. I did not. Well, I learned. I learned a hard lesson. Oh, okay. You can hear me. I don't know why you couldn't hear me before. I wonder what that was about. Yeah, right. Does AI realize you're on screen and not your own home? So I end up having to just buy a brand new replacement door. And I just installed that yesterday. Oh, what a chore. I still have to put trim up around the sides of it, but I got it all sealed up and it's ready to go. And thankfully I was able to put my old key cylinder inside the door, but that's my door. But it sucks when you buy a brand new door and they don't have it built right. And then after this experience with Pella 2, the new door, I will never buy Pella again. If they were the only door manufacturer that I had a choice to use, I'd build my own door. I bought my door directly from a builder, which most people do when they have work done. I bought mine from the builder, and Pella will not honor warranty on a $4,000 sliding door. They won't. That's only 2 months old. It was literally manufactured 2 months ago. In 2 days it'll be 2 months, and they will not honor their 20-year warranty or whatever it is, because it was bought from a builder and not from one of their retailers. I'm like, everything is in the brand new package. What are you talking about? You won't. I was pissed. Oh wait, neighbors have told me I have given them too much credit. I'm seeing that they really are just stupid. Yeah, it looks like they are from what I've seen. I own a 1860s one-room schoolhouse. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Unfortunately, some previous owner put a dormer on it. Oh, I purchased 3 Pella windows 4 years ago, and they constantly leak air in the winter. Yeah, huh. So there was a very short time that Pella actually made good quality windows. I'm a window cleaner, right? Pellas are the only windows that I have had consistent issues and complaints over. But their doors, I've seen them go through a variety of different kinds where some of them were good, some were bad. The ones that I had bought, they were always good when I was working in customers' homes with them. So I bought one for my house, and turns out the bottom wasn't even sealed. And it just rotted away because it was just cheap white pine or whatever. Yeah, white pine. Untreated white pine in on the very bottom of a an exterior door. That's literally it appears to be um, manufacturing sabotage. That's what it looks like to me. Oh, I was on the back side of the phone, too far from it. Well, I think maybe it is a distance. I don't want to get too ugly on you. See all that wet wood, it's just having a hard time going. I got a lot of coals going on there. Thankful because originally I was going to have my contractor replace the window in my home. Pella has gone downhill with quality, and their customer service is ridiculous. This door, I could not find the screen track for it, and apparently they wrapped it in brown paper and had it glued to the inside crease of the screen box. And so when I opened up the screen box and got the brand new screen out and all the hardware for it, it looked like it was part of the box. I could not find it. And so I called Pella, and for 2 tracks and screws, they wanted $336 for 2 aluminum tracks. Just simple extruded aluminum tracks and screws. 336 doll hairs. I'm like, are you kidding me? I said, that's price gouging. Um, yeah, I have not had good experience with Pella. I probably shouldn't have bought it, but it was such a great deal. I literally bought it was 35 to 100 to $4,000 window that I ended up getting for 1,300 and $50, and I had to drive 4 hours for it, two hours there and 2 hours back. And it's a big chunk of change, but I don't want to go cheap. That's the thing, I don't want a cheap door because I know it. I'm a window cleaner. I know what cheap doors do, and they don't last very long. I don't remember 3 or 4 years ago we bought a $320 exterior slat door, goes where a screen door would. Yep, okay. We purchased and painted it with a whole gallon of Thompson's, and it's all rotted out. What? Man. Oh, that sucks. 4 years ago, my first call to Pella Corporation about, oh, hold on. Pella Corporation about their windows leaking air. The service rep told me that I have to expect air to come in when it's windy. Oh man. Okay, we got to start a Pella disgruntled Pella customer community online because this appears to be a problem. Uh, yeah, I ran into so many problems and headaches with putting this brand new Pella window door in too. It's one of their 250 series. It's like, mid to upper quality stuff. I mean, they sell, it's supposed to be one of their higher qualities, I guess, because they sell sliding doors as cheap as 600 bucks, brand new out the door at Lowe's. That's their lower end stuff. Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's planned obsolescence when it comes to that, because that's one of the things that I have learned, that things are actually designed to, uh, break down or need upgrades in a short amount of time. But I think it's actually just planned or engineered sabotage, is what it looks like. Making cheaper quality stuff, making things knowing that they're going to go, because they have engineers that design these things and go through the designs, to ensure all of, that understand material physics. I don't know how an engineer would be able to design a door with no paint on the bottom, or it's ridiculous, or design a window that's going to leak air. Come on. Oh yeah, when it's windy. Well, a good window that's well made, when the wind goes against the window, it actually confirms the seal, doesn't compromise it. Yeah, thank you, disposable. They sent out a repairman with Velcro pads placed on each corner. What the? That's just not right. Each window is close to $1,000. Wow. So I'm kind of wondering, one of the things I was thinking of, and just in doing a live stream, I don't know if you've seen my ugly mug. I'm gonna zoom and make you look at, I can't make you look at me. I mean, you can always click away or swipe. But one of the things that's kind of been on my mind is wondering, people that start to discover the truth. I don't even like looking at my own face. People that start discovering the truth about how this world system is and the direction it's headed, and there's not really a lot of hope for any kind of change in a better way from the people that don't have the powers of controls. What motivates you in this world? So I've really kind of struggled with the things that motivate me. I used to be motivated to do a lot of stuff, hunting. I used to love to go exploring and hunting and going hiking through, state parks and a variety of wilderness areas and camping. And it doesn't take long. You go out there, and next thing you know, you're being molested by a possum cop or a nature Nazi. And it's like they've ruined. I don't know if I ever told the story on this channel about how they retaliated against me. I may have done it once or twice for not um, yielding my Fourth Amendment right when I wasn't required to by law, and they ended up stealing my truck. And it's the same cops that shot Matthew Huddle and suffocated and killed Riker Earl, just one county over. But anyway, I guess my point is, there's so many things I love to do, but when you're doing things outside of your own property in your home, you're subject to these cops, and the cops of every kind, whether it's the road pirates or the possum Nazis or the, what do you call it, conservation officers, or uh, different park management and stuff. People are always trying to exert authority over you, and it's like you can't even take a hike in the woods. And now they've got, and I think it's part of the agenda for the 21st century from the United Nations, where a lot of government properties have been joined together with this treaty to preserve the land. But there's a lot of places where you're not even allowed to. Illinois has a whole bunch of really beautiful parks and forest preserves, you're not allowed, it's illegal to step off of their approved trail. I don't go out in the nature to be on a trail with that's trodden with tourists. I go out in nature to go walk the deer paths, go find the fox dens, go find the deer bedding areas, go look at all the different plants, and hey, maybe even pick something and eat it. That's a crime, you know. So the only thing I really find motivation in is being valued to somebody else for something. So I have a window cleaning business, and I have a ton of customers that just they love the work that I do, and they won't hire anybody else to clean their windows because they know they can trust me, you know, because I'm not a man of malice. Although I did have a lady today, this last week I worked for. I asked her, she was talking about somebody that was sketchy, and seemed sketchy, and I asked her, I said, I've been working for her for like 15 years, and I said, oh, so you never thought I was sketchy, huh? And she said, no, not until you started growing that beard. Now you're looking kind of sketchy. I was like, really? Now that I'm growing a beard, I'm looking sketchy. But it's funny because her and her husband own a building company that they used to do really beautiful homes, custom homes, and they only had me clean their windows. Now they went with a cheaper company because they don't care about the quality anymore. And the cheaper company does all their new build cleans because they don't care, but they won't have that cheaper company clean the windows on their own house. They only want me to do it. But yeah. But I'm just wondering what kind of what things motivate you in this world. You know, what are you motivated for? What motivates you to do things and move? Uh, to me, it's to be valued and to be able to help people. You know, to like I had a friend come over. He helped me put the door in, and you know, he told me that I'm worth my weight in gold in my knowledge of things with nature. I mean, I've helped him with a lot of stuff and being able to identify plants and uh, study to be able to learn the different medicinal values of different herbs and flora, nuts, berries, roots, and things. And you know, it's just to me, I study it because I actually want to help people, and that's when I find value and I'm motivated to do things is when I know I can be of a service to somebody because I genuinely love serving people and making people happy because everybody wants to be happy. And how can you be happy when you're stuck on a pharmaceutical medication that you got to take 3 times a day for the rest of your life? You know, but if you can break free of that dependency and find something in nature that's going to be either free or really inexpensive, then probably be happier, I would think. Now I'm just rambling and not reading the text. Sorry, I got into a little, but I'm just curious. I'm going back. I missed a bunch. Okay, each window costs. Overview says the word window comes from the Old Norse word vinoga, which literally translates to wind eye. This is a compound word of vinder. Oh, vinder cleaner. Wind and auga, eye. No wind. See? Yes, see? No wind. It's a wind eye. So you open it up and the wind can come in. It's an eyeball for the wind to come through. When you close it, it's supposed to be like your eyelids, right? Anyway, geez, Marie, be patient and long suffering. Oh boy. I use the word drives where you said motivates. Yeah, right. What drives you, especially about stuff people are passionate about. What drives you to that? Mm-hmm. Fellow keeps records of all calls. That's pretty much acknowledgement of their liability. I'm covered, right? Yeah, but they don't. They're not going to grant you access to that to It's just like I've had issues with Verizon before. Thankfully, I have been able to get in touch with some management that actually did go back, and because I told them, you guys have every call recorded, you can go back and listen to that conversation, and I actually suggest you, because what was done was completely wrong, and they did, and the person actually got reprimanded for it, and they made it right with me, so that was cool. But very rarely will corporations use that record to actually correct their own wrongs. They use it to try to, for their own benefit, usually. Kind of like cops with body cameras. Yeah, well, oh, no need to record. I've got a body camera on. Okay. If anybody's ever been in the space of police accountability for more than 5 minutes, you know how body cameras go. And forget about it if you're in North Carolina or South Carolina. They actually don't consider that public record, which is absolutely ridiculous. My parents taught us through example to serve others when they are in need. Yeah, absolutely. It is more blessed to give than to receive. I am so blessed when I'm able to be of aid to somebody. That motivates me. I've actually got a story about that. I would love to hear you on you and Marie do a dual stream and have this conversation. Just re Huntington Township. How did that happen, and why do you continue beyond the fatigue? Don't answer here. Oh, do a stream. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I'd do a stream with Marie. I don't know. Would you do one with me, Marie? You want to? I don't know. I don't know how popular it would be, but probably be a good conversation, I think. As far as why I keep moving forward, yeah. When someone pushes me back, I move 2 steps forward. Yeah, you have that about you. I think that's kind of a cool character. I'm also a middle child. I'm stubborn. Yeah. Well, as a middle child, you have to be. Yeah. So I actually went through a period, and yeah, I'll just go do a little bit of my history. Just one of the things where I lost motivation really bad. I lost my drive, my inner uh, my inner drive. I married a woman that I met in college, and she was not. I had been engaged to her when I became born again. We had not yet married, and I prayed about it to the Lord, because she was not born again, and she actually despised my faith because I switched overnight. In a moment, I no longer did the things I used to do. I no longer hung out with the same crowd. I didn't, uh, I started reading the Bible, and I started sharing with her, and she didn't like that. I turned on the radio, which, that was part of my early learning. I do not approve of any modern Christian music, but you see me, I'm over here petting my cat. She wants my scooper. That's my Uma. She's like, I'm okay on the ground. She wanted to be petted on the ground. Oh, stop it. Yes. Yeah. She only really likes to be in the lap when we're inside the house, because she knows all the dangers in the outside world. Yeah, my schooner. But she loves me. I'm just gonna see her. Probably not. Tripod's kind of a funny thing. Okay, back to my story time. Sorry. Yeah, now she's gonna hang out on my lap. Um, but I prayed to the Lord about it, and the Lord told me to leave the woman, and I did not. I actually, rather than do what the Lord said, I decided I'd take another scripture, um, and apply it to my life, and it wasn't what the Lord was speaking to me on. And the scripture I chose was it is good that a man not touch a woman, but it's better to marry than to burn. And I thought, well, I know myself pretty well. I'm a very um, physically driven man, and I didn't want to live in sin, so I wanted to marry to keep from burning, right? And so I married her. And it was just downhill from that point. The Lord said that because He knew what was going to happen. And He knew from the end from the beginning, my choices. And I've actually, at the time, I thought, and this was my folly and thought, was that, well, God knew from the end from the beginning. He knew I was going to do this, so He's got a plan to redeem it. Well, yeah, but that's not without pain, because when you commit sin and you do evil, there's pain involved. And a man should never marry a woman that's not in the Lord. That if the man is in the Lord, and a woman likewise, if she's in the Lord, she shouldn't marry someone that's not in the Lord, because it's I don't like the term unequally yoked together, because that's taken out of context. That's not talking about marriage, because a yoke is for the work and the ministry of the Lord, and it's not. Marriage is uh, basically a foundational building block of society, and the structure of the family starts from the home marriage. However, she left after 14 years of marriage. She hit the road one day, and I had kind of conceded to just living a life of full of contention with her, no peace in the house, because we had opposing worldviews, and but I still loved her, and I still worked to provide for her. We've had two sons, and provide for them, and that was my motivation in life. That was a lot of my main drive, was to be able to go to work, make my customers happy, make my family happy, get the things they need, and just raise my sons and fulfill my vows. And then one day she left, and to me it was like an abandonment kind of a thing, where it's like, what's the word? I'm trying to think what the word is I'm looking for. Um, where I'm not needed. Like, there's no necessity for me to provide for them. She can provide for herself, basically, is kind of how it was. Except for, yeah, child support, right? She can provide for herself when she gets state funding for, being a single mom, and all kinds of benefits from the state over that. That's another thing that pisses me off about this country, is a woman can treacherously depart from her husband, take his children, which is kidnapping, and then penalize him and make him pay. I never ever fought child support or any of that. I know how the state goes with that, and frankly, I don't want to not support my children. And I took every opportunity to spend my weekends with them and time with them. In the summer, I'd get them for weeks at a time, and it just. But in all, I only had, I think, 12.5% of their life, uh, they were with me. 87.5% of the time, they were either in some school that they didn't, where they're getting indoctrinated, and even though it was a private school, and then at her house or her apartment, whatever. But I'm going way on a tangent. I'm sorry. After she left, I lost motivation. I lost drive. I was so full of sorrow, because that was a part of, what gave me drive in this life, was to be able to be the provider and the protector for my children and my wife. And I would literally be standing before a dirty window, and tears would start rolling out of my eyes, because the reason I did this was for her and for my sons. And now I don't have them anymore. And to me, it was like a really deep break in my soul, my spirit. And I would just cry. I'd stand there in front of my clients, windows, just weeping and crying. And I'd go to the grocery store and I'd go to the aisles where I would normally get something for her, something she liked, stupid things. Well, not stupid, but the little things that I always did to care for her, like make sure I got the best, her favorite kind of orange juice, her favorite kind of cookie, her favorite kind of cereal. And I would walk by these things and I would just weep because it's like, wow, I don't, she's not here anymore. She doesn't even care that I had that. And so it really turned me into a very broken point where I was losing everything. I didn't have the motivation to keep working. I didn't have the motivation to pay the bills. I didn't have the motivation to do much anything. And I was losing everything. And the house was going into foreclosure. I'd already lost a bunch of clients because I just wasn't able to clean the windows. I mean, physically, I just wasn't physically able to do the work because my broken spirit was overwhelming my tasks of, my daily day to day. And some people call it depression, and they like to label that like a disease or some kind of a disorder. But what it is it's sorrow. And I make the distinct difference because sorrow is a part of life. And sorrow is good. Sorrow makes the heart better. Psychologists, which modern psychology is based off of satanic philosophies. The founders of modern psychology were avowed Satanists, occultists, and self-proclaimed atheists. And the philosophies of psychology are 100% counter biblical ideology, which is what God says about things. I digress. So I went through a great period of sorrow, and I was losing everything. So I went off to, uh, I packed everything up that I could that I needed in case I would be able to get back into working again because I was literally just bankrupt of all my motivation. And I went west. I didn't know where I was going. I had no idea. I just started going west. Not really sure what to do, and I had actually taken a detour to spend time with my uncle in Missouri, and I was planning on going west from that point. And he basically let me stay with him for a short time, and I was there probably about a month, and I started to feel the motivation and the drive to be able to get things going again and do things. I was able to help him and help his wife and help their family with things, and that was a blessing to me to be able to help somebody. And then I got an email from a client that I'd had for almost 20 years, and they begged me to come back. They said, Scott, we only want you to do the work. I just did handyman work for them. And they said, we only want you to do the work. We don't want anyone else in our house. Please come back. They said, we will pay you whatever your transportation costs are to come back up here. We just want you to do the work for us because we know you do good work. And it wasn't window cleaning. It was just other handyman work. But they were like, they appreciated my friendship also. And they were an elderly brother and sister in the Lord also, and to me, that was a blessing. It was like they really needed me. They wanted me, that I was of value to them. So that actually gave me motivation, drive. I went up there. The money that I made from the work that I did for them, was enough to get my cell phone, my business cell phone, back on. One day before I was gonna lose my business number for the rest of my life, because I think it was 50 days after you have had your number shut off for 50 days, you lose it completely. And it was 49 days. And I got the money to Verizon. And as soon as I got my phone on, I had voice messages. I listened to them. I'd just gotten one like the day before for one of the biggest contracts I had ever gotten in the history of my business. So being motivated to do the work, did the work, and that job paid to get my house out of foreclosure, and basically got me started. And as soon as I got caught up with everything. I had my first and only so far spill where I came down off a ladder, and the ladder slid out and I came down 2 stories and got all busted up. And it was another time of sorrow, and I just went through some really heavy periods at that time. But anyway, it's my point is what I think when I look at it, just reflecting, my deepest drive in life has been to be able to help people. You know, before I became born again, I really was working for myself. I was living for myself. I only wanted things for this world for myself, and the interesting thing was I was always chasing this um, this uncatchable dream, if you will. Anyway, I'm just kind of going off. I don't know if I'm going to keep this stream up because I've been a little bit more intimate with my own feelings and thoughts on things that I normally don't. And it is kind of a sensitive time. There's only 3 people in here, so I don't know. So I went on rambling for a little bit. I'm going to read some of your comments. I hope that maybe somebody shared with me the things that motivate them. I'm going to let you look at the smoldering fire that just doesn't want to go while I'm reading the comments. Oh, you can barely hear again. No, there's nothing blocking the microphone. Maybe I'm just talking too softly. I'm sorry. I have not moved anything. I hear him fine. Oh, yeah, you need amplified external speakers. Check your speaker settings, sure. I suffer with tinnitus, so I sometimes have difficulty with the phone speakers. Oh, okay. Okay, Dean, a couple of times and inadvertently hit the volume key low. That's all we talk about while listening to you, sir. Right? But yeah, and so I'll get back on that rant about psychology, sorrow, and depression. They call it depression, it's really sorrow. There is a lot to be said about that. I've actually searched the scriptures through it. I've lived through a lot of it. I see others that lived through it. And I may break out the guitar one of these days and play one of the songs that, to me, it is my favorite song, or one of my favorite songs. Probably the most intimate song from the deepest of my heart that I've ever written. I would have to say one of them. It's up there with the top 5, and it's called Broken or Bitterness. And it's a choice that we make when we are violated, when we're offended, when we're hurt in our heart. And we have a choice to make, and that choice is to either become broken, which is the path of sorrow, or to become bitter, which is the path of evil and hardness. And um, it's kind of it's a crossroads that we come to when people harm us. But I'm going to see if I can't round up some of these little twigs around the fire and get this thing working again. Did I mention that all the wood is wet around here? I don't know if it'll show. Yeah, still looks brighter. I had to use an arrow shaft, an old arrow shaft. It works like a billows. It directs all the air that I blow into one point to create some nice fresh oxygen into the coals. I had some coals, so that's all I needed. ID10Ts, that's what I call them. I'm skipping back here. Even the fires are lazy. Oh, yeah, fires are lazy. I choose to be happy every day, except, of course, dealing with the Huntington Village idiots. Yeah. The town clowns, the ID10Ts, the court of jesters under King Todd. Yeah, you're dealing with them. Being usually on the way home or the next day, I laugh at them. They were like a Saturday Night Live skit. Yeah, no kidding. They are. It's it's kind of you gotta laugh to keep from blowing your top, I guess. Well, you're not laughing in the moment, that's for sure. Littlestown School District Director comments under our videos. He calls me Perry Mason when I interrogate Todd King. I've seen it. The fact that they all defer and advocate to the hired world destroyer makes me giggle. School director, record those meetings too. As with all men and women who put themselves in the seats of power, they should ask anybody, anyone, not one of their yes men or am I doing a good job? Are you alone? What are you doing? I'm building a fire, having a discussion. That's what I'm doing. There's the fire. That's probably too close. Too close to zoom. All the wood is wet, so it's been a little bit of a difficult time getting that fire going. But I actually started it with just things I found on the ground that was wet. Yeah, it is. The sky looks a lot brighter in the phone than it is right now. There's the east. I'm sorry, the west. That's where the sun sets, and it's been set for a while now. I think it sets at like 8:20, 8 no 8:45, and so right now it is 9 o'clock. So the sun set like 15 minutes ago or so. Sorry. I'm gonna try to read this. It's cold over there. I'm in northwest Indiana. We do have a north wind that came in, and it is pretty comfortable actually. Now I got the shadow. I never thought about that. The shadow of my tripod, the fire. There's my. So I'll hide behind the shadow of my phone. The fire is directly between me and the phone. My face and the phone right now. I like seeing the fire. I do. I like focusing on the fire and just kind of. I do a lot of deep thinking. Depression, which is actually sorrow. The scripture has a lot to say about it, and it is a natural part of Rudy's life, and I think it's not something to uh, take lightly. I think that during times of sorrow, it causes people to look much more introspectively and be and realize our own faults in situations and circumstances, and realize our own disregard for others sometimes. And the scripture says, "He that with much wisdom comes much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow." And it also says that sorrow makes the heart better. Well, of course, Satan doesn't want people's hearts to be better because, according to Scripture and what I've observed in life, is the heart is more deceptive than anything in all of creation. In Jeremiah 17:9, it says, "The heart is above all things deceptive and desperately wicked." So something that's going to make the heart better is going to make you less prone to be deceived, which Satan doesn't want. I mean, that's why Satan says, follow your heart, the world. And when I say Satan, I mean, he is the God of this world and the prince of this world. And he deceives the whole world. And so he is also the deceiver. So it only stands to reason that the deceiver would want to use the most deceptive thing above all things, the heart of man, which is why, you know, Walt Disney, the 33rd Degree Mason, and almost every one of his productions was the message, follow your heart. Follow your heart. Play with magic. Play with sorcery. Play with spells. A lot of people don't recognize it, but they actually promoted bestiality, turning beasts of the field, which were not made in the image of man, nor do they have the intellect or um, mind or abilities of man, but turn them into a character of man, like unto man, and then they promote having a love for beasts that's inordinate. It is more like what you would have for your fellow man, and it's really kind of fed a lot of the seeded um, wickedness into the hearts of many children. I did not want my sons to have anything to do with being brought up in a world. I told my wife, I said, I'm not going to raise PBS kids. Of course, she did not have the same worldview I did, so she wanted them to. Many people enjoy watching a fire. It doesn't have to be cold. Yeah, I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's a little chilly because we're getting a north wind coming in from Canada, or China, I should say. Hi, baby girl. Nice goodness. If by chance you hear my wireless metal projecting peacekeeping device, metal launching peacekeeping device go off, it makes kind of a loud bang. There's no need for concern. There's probably some kind of an unwanted pest that's coming around, but that happens from time to time. And here lately, I've had an unwanted pest that, if this thing shows up, which it probably won't while I'm here, you might hear my wireless metal launching peacekeeping device go off. I'm just saying. uh, and then it'll be age restricted. Being in nature and quietly watching a fire is meditative. It is. That's one of the reasons I do really love being out here in the country. I don't have a big spot of land. It's just less than 2 acres, but it is a place where I have peace. For the most part. And sometimes I wish that I didn't live so far away from so many other people, because I love people. But I don't want to be around them all the time. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Maybe. When do I start splitting wood? Oh, I usually start around December when my window cleaning slows down. That's when I start. I fire up my chainsaws throughout the year just to keep them running so that they don't build up any kind of unwanted oil in the chambers and the hoses, and you know just kind of take care of them. I just purchased a vehicle from a government auction. I have, there's a website called govdeals.com, and I suspect that it's run by people that are either government agents or they are closely tied with government agents, because the auction site is very much geared toward government agencies, giving them a pass to be very deceptive in their descriptions and their listings, and uh, basically restrict the buyers. And it's not a buyer friendly site, it is definitely a seller friendly site, which is all government. And so there's a federal law well, there's many federal laws regarding assets that are purchased with taxpayers' money. Whenever they're going to decommission an asset, they're required to put it up for auction for the general public, the taxpayers who actually paid for it, so we get to pay for it again, right? Buy it back. They stole our money by threats of violence and under threat of violence to buy these things, and then they sell them back to us. But there is a continual and perpetual strategy that I have seen where assets will go up for auction, and there will inevitably be a winning bidder for the auction, and then 2-3 days later the same asset goes back up on auction again, and it's a common thing. Well, if I win an auction and I don't pay for the auction, I lose my they shut down my account and I can never bid on that site again. So it's not going to be a common practice for people to do that, to just bid and not pay for the auction or not go pick up the asset. What it looks like is that these government agents are using spoof accounts to enter bids to raise the price up because they want to collect more money, and inevitably they're the ones that win the auction, so they don't have to pay, they don't report themselves, so they just relist the auction. And that's something that I've observed that looks like exactly what they're doing. Of course, you couldn't prove that unless you did public records requests. And it's just, I can see the corruption, and I don't really want to go through all the hassle of proving that they're committing felonies, that they're not misdemeanor crimes, they're felony crimes. Federal laws are what regulate the custody of assets, and those are felonies when they commit them. And so we're literally being ruled by felons. Rules for thee and not for me. But I bought a truck that was listed the third time. It was a 2006 GMC Sierra, same truck that I have, except for the old one was a 2003. Same engine. This thing only had 79,000 miles on it. I got almost 400,000 on my other one. Very good engine, very good drivetrain, best vehicle I've ever owned, hands down. They lied. They said the air conditioner worked. It does not work. Doesn't really have much rust, which surprises me, but it came from Ohio. I had to drive to Ohio to get it. But they didn't have a title. And it's like, they didn't tell me that. They didn't tell me that, oh, there's no title. They told me that they didn't tell me until, well, the day before I went to pick it up. They said I needed 24 hours notice for them to get a title. Well, I was giving them 25 hours notice to get the title. I said, I'll be there in 25 hours, so please get the title ready. And I get there and they're like, oh yeah, she doesn't have the title ready. The county clerk or whatever doesn't have the title. And it's like, okay, so I need the title so I can get this thing registered and get it on the road. It's not just Huntington Township that's being run by village ID10Ts. It's like every frickin' municipality in the country. It's like, I don't know what the hell kind of drugs are giving these people besides the COVID jabs, which are neurotoxic. All jabs are neurotoxic. They use aluminum as an adjuvant. which is a neurotoxin. So that's probably one of the things, you know. I'll bet you probably can't find out because of HIPAA laws, but I bet you if you investigated most of these retarded frickin' uh, public officials, you'd find out that, oh yeah, they got the flu shot every year. They got all the jabs from the time they were born to the time, from the cradle to the grave. So of course the county clerk went on a vacation for 2 weeks the day after I purchased the vehicle, and I won't be able to get the title supposedly. Tomorrow's going to be the day she gets back into the office, and I'm going to call her office and I'm going to leave messages. I really don't want to have to go and file a lawsuit against a county that's 4.5, 5 hours away from me, because that's not going to be fun, you know. But I got the vehicle for $3,950. And then after I had to pay the buyer's premium and everything, and the transportation and taxes, everything comes to about $5,000 to get that thing on the road. The Natima truck was purchased, government auction. You see it on intro. The Natima truck. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going back. I got to catch up here. You know, as it got darker, I'm finding that I'm having a harder time reading the text, which doesn't make sense because the text, I had the dark theme, so the text is literally white lettering on black background. I might have to change from the dark theme or get new glasses, which I've been talking about for a few years now. I just haven't gone in. Being an agent. Okay, hopefully it's not like the Narima truck. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about that. The Natima truck was purchased. Yeah, I read that. Narima. I grew up in a house where we laughed a lot. Huntington Township, PA, Narima truck in Giggle Bar. Click on image tab. Me too, Marie. We laughed a lot. Gallows humor, some say, but whatever. Narima truck is owned. The images made me laugh also. I'm starting to believe that there is no truck. I was wondering the same thing. That's the actual emergency truck. Yeah, I don't know. So I wanted to say, Marie, if you're still here, thank you for posting in your community posts after you've already uploaded a video, because sometimes, and this has been happening with a lot of channels I'm subscribed to, when they put out a video and you put out a video, sometimes it's completely hidden from my subscription feed. So I'll go through my subscription feed and I won't see it. And then all of a sudden you'll put out a post that's linking to your video that you just put out, and then it'll show up. And it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? That's been happening with Southern Draw Law. That his videos aren't showing up until sometimes 2 or 3 days after he uploaded them. They don't show up in my subscription feed. And but for some reason it seems that community posts usually do. You know, so I don't know what the deal is with that, but Yeah, I don't always get to see your uploads, even though I'm looking for them in my uh, subscription feed. I keep my subscriptions to a minimum on my channel because I don't want my feed overloaded. And basically, I'm as far as being subscribed to people that put content out regularly, um, very few channels. I'm subscribed to very few channels that will post regular content because I don't want a long feed to go through. And if I'll subscribe to somebody and then all of a sudden I see they're putting out 2, 3 community posts a day, or, 3 or more videos a week. Yeah, I guess if they're putting out a video a day or something, then I don't even, and I unsubscribe to them for the most part. It's just, I don't like my subscription feed cluttered. Okay. It's happening to everyone everywhere under duress. I routinely get D D or unsubscribe from channels. Dean, it is the truck. It's so ugly and old. Yeah, I don't like the way that YouTube is devolving. There's a lot of things. It's not just um, it's not just the way that the interface is with the subscription feeds, but they're customizing it. And this is all part of the AI driven algorithms. It's all customizing the interface for people. So there are times when something's happening with my interface on the app and it's not on somebody else's. I don't know if the URL is doing that, but I know that the mobile app is. I don't really get on the computer a whole lot to do any kind of YouTubing, but when I have, it kind of looks the same. It looks like it's not changing like the app, like the mobile app is. And now I'm seeing a lot more where they used to hide comments under newest first. I'm seeing a lot more of them where comments are showing, it'll show 3 comments, and you click on newest first and you don't see any comments. And it'll say no comments yet, but then the number will say 3 comments or 6 comments. And they're really doing a hellacious job at stunting people's exposure and people's ability to interact and engage with each other. It's further disconnecting people is what it's doing. Yeah, get some more wood on here. Yeah, there's times where I won't get any notifications, comments under my videos, and I won't even see them until I go into YouTube Studio app and I open that up. And then, even then, they don't let me know it. I have to go to the community tab, then I have to go to comments, and I have to sort through the comments because they already always have a preset default for the top comments or unresponded to. And I have to reset it every single time to go to the newest first and remove all of their default settings so that I can see the comments. It's ridiculous. And then there's times when I'll see a comment on my YouTube app and I go to reply and it won't let me reply to somebody. So then I have to go back to the YouTube app and go through that whole ordeal to find the comments that I want to reply to, and then I can reply to it through the YouTube Studio app. That pisses me off. It's like they're making it so that it becomes more and more difficult for people to even interact with the app and with others. Hey, what's going on, Charles? Charles, did you get to do any camping this weekend? I know you got to get out there soon. I keep thinking, man, that guy's got that. You got to get Jimmy to drag George on out to the holler, man. Get Jimmy to drag George out to the holler. And only people that watch his channel know exactly who Jimmy and George is. There's that truck I bought. Let's see if I can get a better shot at it. Okay, that's not right. Hold on. There we go. No, I'm not going to do it like that. Sorry. So it's a... Probably should do this in the daytime. But anyway, it's a 2006 GMC Sierra. The steel rims are not rusted, which is always a good sign. The the rocker panels are notorious on these for getting rusted. That has some surface rust. It looks like it's starting to bubble there, so I may have to do some repairs to that. The cab corners aren't rusted out. They're notorious for getting rust along this edge right here really bad. In fact, this is a 2006, and see my 2013 7 years later with over 200,000 miles on it. You know, I've already repaired that once and it's already rusted through the repairs. You know, and I repaired that 2 years ago, and that rust really bad. And of course that's where the accident was. But yeah, the rocker panels are just rotting out. And here's my my 2003 GMC that's got almost 4,000 miles on it, and it still runs. It just has a parasitic power draw. But these have a cover over the edge of the wheel well, and it's rusting way from over here is where the edge is, so it's rusting way out. I don't know how much longer that. And then look at the cab corners. That's what I say, they're notorious for rusting out the cab corners. And the rocker panels are almost all gone. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, the rocker panels are almost all gone, and it's just not a very good looking truck anymore. But mechanically it's very sound, except for that parasitic power draw. That's the only thing. I'm trying to get I took my headlamp off to shine it on the rocker panels. Am I zoomed in? I guess not. Okay. So that was my old truck. And this is the one I just bought from the government auction. And I am going to try to see if I can't sell this cap. I don't like these flat caps on the back. That's not my style. I like being able to have a truck I can put things in and get up. So I'm going to sell that cap. I do have a cap over here that I bought years ago that is actually the same color of that truck. It's an ARE cap. So I'll probably take that out and give it a good old cleaning, polish it up, wax it, and get that thing on that other truck. That's just what I'm thinking. Oh, oh boy, look at that. That's that truck. Mowing grass tomorrow. Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna catch up here. Just gig work. Yeah, dude. It's like, that's one of the things that sucks is we got to work so hard to pay the bills, and you know, you want to try to get some time for yourself, and then it takes more money to do that, and then you're pulling away from your income. I know how it goes. I'm subbed to Keep It Real Life. Haven't received any video notifications. He hasn't been putting out a lot of videos. That's a good looking vehicle. It is. I like it. I like, you know, they don't look really fancy or nothing, but they look good. They got a nice look to them, but they're very comfortable for driving. The GMC has a better suspension than the Silverado. They've got more um, insulation from road noise in them, so they're quieter trucks to drive in. And it's just, yeah, oh, they got stainless steel exhaust, so the exhaust doesn't ever rust. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Yeah, that's what it is. The cold weather we get up here. So it's called the rust belt because in the wintertime, if they don't put something on the roads to keep the roads from, you know, keep the ice down, they have to put, I think it's calcium chloride on the roads, and some municipalities use sand, but most use calcium chloride, and it just eats away its steel. And the thing is, they can make these trucks with steel that doesn't rust. But there again, I mean, it's like Pella making doors. You know, they're not going to sell as many if they don't rust out. And it turns into a chore. When I had that project with my son's Silverado and we rebuilt that from the ground up, that was a pain in the butt. There were so many bolts were just rotted so bad. I had to break a bunch of bolts and drill and tap out holes and do a whole bunch of welding. But we got that thing pretty solid. So, you know, but it's a lot of work. I've got a meme that I wrote, that I put together. It's got like three 5-gallon water jugs full of coins. And I said, this is a Chevy Mechanics, a Rust Belt Chevy Mechanic. Oh, hold on a second, do I get a tick? No. A Chevy Mechanics swear jar in the Rust Belt. It costs money to do anything these days. Romans 1, underbody rust, not an issue in Arizona. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. I was actually, for a while there, when I was getting ready to upgrade, before I got my 2013, I was looking through Arizona, I was looking through New Mexico, I was looking through Texas and Louisiana, Georgia, different areas where I might get a vehicle that's not subject to all the sodium chloride in the rust belt. You know, to me, if I can get something that's not rusted out real bad, it's worth it. Did you hit all notifications on my channel, Huntington? Your hand melting on door handles is. Okay, in Arizona, yes, your hand melting on door handles. It took me a minute because I kind of lost the train of thought. Yes, yes, everything gets really hot in Arizona. Unless you're in the higher elevations, then it's more uh, inhabitable. I was surprised that you can grow banana trees in southern Illinois. I guess there's only one variety you can do. It's like a Japanese variety, isn't it? 106 in February this year. Yeah, that was a record year, a record for February, wasn't it? I think. I remember seeing that. This last winter, it wasn't really brutal here. I think we only went below zero maybe 3 weeks or, yeah, we probably had at the most 20 days that were below zero. When I was young, actually all the way through the 90s, I remember in the Chicagoland area, which is where I'm at, in the Chicagoland area, we would get uh, every winter, we would get at least 2 weeks of temperatures that would get below minus 10. Sometimes it'd be not minus 25. Sometimes it'd be minus 15, but we'd get at least 2 weeks during almost every winter that cold. And then in the summertime, we'd get at least 2 weeks where it got above 100. And out of that, we would usually have 3 or 4 days that would be up above 110. And this, I was talking with somebody the other day when it was like 89 degrees outside and sweaty, and he was an older guy from the area, and he was complaining about the heat, and I'm like, you're old enough to remember what summers were like before. This 89 degree humidity is not bad. you know, I'm like, to me, somebody complaining about that's lived up here their whole life when it's been way hotter, you know, it just was like, it was mind-boggling. But I brought him back to remembering how things were, even like for decades until just recently. And he's like, yeah, you got a point. It's really not that bad. Where'd you go? She came over here yelling at me for attention. No, she probably wants to go inside and eat. Central Time, 10:15. Not that uncommon. Oh, Central Illinois. I don't know why I said where time. Central Illinois, 10 minus 15. Not that common. No school. When minus 25 with wind chill. Yeah. Where are you from, Romans 1? You're in Central Illinois also? Are you close to Gary? Yes, I am I should say not very close to Gary, but I am about 50 minutes south of Gary, Indiana. I'm in Lake Village, Indiana. It's what would be considered the greater Chicagoland area. I am 1 hour and 20 minutes from the southern border of Chicago. Lived near Springfield. Okay. Moved to Arizona. Yeah, I have been through Arizona, and I really wish I would have had more time because I was actually traveling through Arizona all 4 times that I was there, and it was just beautiful. Um, I can't say that I really would want to live there because there's not a lot of life, if you will. There's not up here where I live, there's so many forests and the ground is fertile and water is abundant. I've actually got an excellent water supply. I was talking to my neighbor who just moved into the house behind me today about the water supply here we have here. It's very, very clean water and it's very good. It's natural, it's filtered through sand, it's shallow wells. We don't have farmland chemicals. We live in the woods. Dang it. Texas is much better. Keep it real. I just want your channel. Yeah. So I looked this up the other day on YouTube, and yeah, it's kind of one of the other reasons I'm not trying to go and get monetized when it comes to YouTube ad revenue. For every 1,000 views that a small monetized channel gets, they get between 35 cents and what is it, $2, depending on what, you know, how many total views they get. But for every 1,000 views, like say 35 cents or $1. And then I decided I was going to find out what it would cost to um, advertise on YouTube. Do targeted advertising on YouTube, which I'm not going to advertise. I really don't need to. But I was thinking about that, and I'm like, I wonder what the ads are paying. They're getting $100 for every 1,000 views, but they're only giving the people 35 cents, the ones that are producing the content. They're giving 35 cents to whatever it was. I don't remember this, $1.50 or $2, but say a small channel that doesn't generate a lot of views. You're getting 35 cents per 1,000 views, and they're getting $100. They're giving you 35 cents, and they're getting $100. If you think DoorDash is ripping you off, look at what YouTube is doing. That's northeastern Arizona in the pines. You can hand dig a well. Yeah, that's cool. All right, good night, Rowan's one. Yeah, and so they just have people chasing their tails on YouTube trying to earn a couple nickels to rub together. And you see these guys, and when you've got a large channel, which the algorithms, how are you gonna get past the algorithms? I have a theory about that, and it's not a very popular theory, and I do have some evidence to back it up regarding the quantum computers and the AI, the people that have advanced the technology of AI being occultists. That I do think that they're tapping into spiritual sources to guide and lead this artificial intelligence into this new, it's the beast system that we see. And prior to the Internet of Things, when a person was going to become popular in this world and be uh, marketed by the gatekeepers of information, knowledge, and celebrity status, they would have to make a deal with the devil. In fact, there are literally hundreds of people in all walks of life that have attained status of power and influence in this world that have come out and admitted publicly on record that they made a deal with the devil. And it's not a colloquialism, it is a Faustian agreement, or Faustian. It is a Faustian contract, to be sure. That's what Stanley Kubrick was allegedly quoted as saying. And so, if you're dealing with spirits, Satan and his angels, and you make a contract and a covenant with them, and they're the ones that are pushing and controlling the algorithms, and they're suppressing the people who are of the faith, and they're exalting people that have made a deal with the devil, which is one of the things I suspect is going on. It's not going to be possible to break through that glass ceiling of the algorithms unless you've made the compromises for the sake of money. The love of money is the root of all evil. Not money itself, but the love thereof. Yep, that's what I got, a nickel or two. I know, man. Dude, I looked at how many views your videos have gotten, Charles, and and then after seeing how much they give for every 1,000 views you get, and I see, you might get 1,000 views in 4 to 5 months' time. I don't think they count the shorts views as, the same way as they count the long form content views. But that's per ad. That's another thing. They're giving you 35 cents per 1,000 views, but they're getting $100 per ad per view. And so when I watch your channel or one of your videos, and I'll see 2 ads in the beginning, and I'll see 1 or 2 scattered through the video and another one at the end, that's 2, 4, 6 views, 5 or 6 different ads. So they're getting $500 or $600. I just realized that. I think I did the other day when I looked at it. I was like, wait a minute, they're getting $500 or $600 for every 1,000 views that Charles gets. But what are they giving him? Peanuts. Not even peanuts. They're giving him crumbs, and they're making trillions. It's got to be trillions of dollars with all the content producers and all the advertising revenue that they generate. There's no way I would pay YouTube to advertise. No way I can see that I would do that. $8 this month. Huh. It's buffering. Is it buffering? Is it buffering for you too, Charles? Is the video buffering for you, Charles? Buffering. Yeah. Okay. Wait, hold on. That's not buffering here. Okay. Well, $8. I'm wondering how that happens. How you got $8? You know what? Because you didn't get 1,000 views this month, did you? Are they counting do they, maybe they count the shorts views as views toward that 1,000? I thought I read differently. But even still, when you think one video, they're getting 5 to 6 ads, $500 to $600 for every 1,000 views. And what are they giving you per 1,000? Do you know how much they're giving you per 1,000? I mean, you don't have to tell me. I'm just curious. It's just, information that I kind of put in my memory bank and consider how YouTube has just turned into a slave plantation for so many people. Oh, I think I hear a critter moving. I may have to mute and go off video for a moment, or just shut the stream down. I think I hear one of my pests. coming in. The machines are trying to frustrate us from this small gathering. Sort of a joke. Yeah, I know. I had one super chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, super chat. And you got $8, and it was probably somebody gave you $10 in the super chat. Or five. I don't know. It makes me sick because when you think about how much wear and tear it is on your processor, these processors on these phones don't hold out for a long time, and then you got to buy another phone, and then you got to buy a camera, and you got to get the computer and the software and do the editing, and there's so much involved. And it's like, yeah, is it worth it for a money venture? No, 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 no. Not unless you're being pushed by the algorithms, and I really haven't seen that much. Um, so you know, and I've been highly suspicious of people that are very popular in YouTube, and I can tell you right away when you're in the political arena and you see these channels that have millions of subscribers, these people have made a deal with the devil. They're promoting the two-party puppet show system deception. They're promoting the lies in the world, and they're keeping people emotionally invested into these things. And oh, I had a conversation with one of the top electrical engineers for our local energy monopolist company, and we were talking about the data centers. There is a lot of corruption going on with those data centers. And then I also got to have a conversation with guys that were working at replacing poles after they were actually set up and staged for the tornadoes that were coming through. And I learned some things talking to that electrical engineer, which I wasn't unaware of. And it really is, they're pushing a lot of propaganda on both ends. Both sides are just deceiving, 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 and the truth is somewhere in the middle, obscured by all of the propaganda. And they've got propaganda going on both sides, against them and for them, but either way, they're going through. But I talked with the engineer, and he was kind of like in favor of them to a point, but that's his job because he's one of the top engineers, electrical engineers for the electric company. But I told him, I said, the thing that bothers me the most about these data centers, one of them is I know where they're going. I know the direction that and why they have to set so many up. I said, the thing that bothers me the most is what we're seeing that these companies that are putting the data centers up are being incentivized financially. They're getting tax breaks for between 25 and 75 years of tax exemption. Like they're not going to be taxed for that long of time. And they're not creating, or I should say, producing jobs for people other than the initial buildings of these centers. It's a very minimal operation as far as needing manpower. I said, but the thing that bothers me the most is you've got these residents out that are coming across party lines unanimously going against them. We don't want these data centers. And then you've got a board of 3 to 7 people that are making a decision, which would be, in all intents and purposes, political suicide, to vote for something that every single person that speaks publicly about them is against. That's political suicide. And I said, that shows one of two things. It can only be either blackmail or bribery, but it is corruption. It is corruption at its deepest level because these are elected officials that are supposed to be doing the will of the people, are supposed to represent the people, and they are blatantly going against the people. And he agreed, and one of the things he mentioned was something about he couldn't go into too many details, but he shared with me some things that he probably shouldn't have told me. But one of the things that he talked about was that the power company has not done a very good job in public relations department. I'm like, yeah, you think? Raising everybody's bills by 35 to 65%, so that they can supply electricity for these centers and in the interim before they get fully powered on and independent to the grids. Oh, it's that 1 hour and 55-minute glitch. Somewhere around just before 2 hours, these live streams do a reset. I don't know what that's about, but it'll always do like some kind of a glitch where it cuts out, and it just did that. I've seen that on a couple others, but I don't normally go this long. There's been a few, but not too many. Yeah, I try to be active in the comments and videos. Just last week in Gettysburg, they had a black bear walking through High Street, where the Adams County Courthouse is located. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, we don't have bear up here. Yeah, we don't get bears around here. I enjoy doing it though. I mostly enjoy the comments. Okay, bears, people commingling can't end well. Yeah, they did a fairly effective job at eradicating the bears in this area. And I've got a worldview that is pretty biblically based. And I think that what I've observed in science and ecology is that God designed the wildernesses of the world to have predators and prey animals so that there was a balance in nature. If you didn't have predators, then you wouldn't be able to continually have the earth full of good food, coming up, because all the herbivores would be eating up all the plants. So that there has to be a balance. And, large predators are part of that balance. But when man inhabits the land and dwells in the land, then it is man's responsibility to either eliminate the large predators or at least hunt them down and give them the fear of man so that they do not interact with man. They don't come into the towns. If they weren't protected, they would not be coming around man. If they were, because large predators are a danger. Black bears aren't that big of a predator though. They're mostly um, foragers. They don't do a lot of prey, preying on animals and things. But they have it in them. But large predators, wolves, even coyotes, um, cougars, bears, black bears, grizzly bears, they present a danger to our resources and to our communities and to our families and to our animals. And so I think it's a responsible thing for man to um, kill them off as much as possible, chase them away, get them away from our sheep, away from our chickens, away from our families, away from our children, away from our pets. And then put the fear of man in them. When an animal is hunted, I don't care what kind of animal it is, when they're hunted by man, they fear man. But when they're protected, they lose that fear and they become emboldened and they attack. And that's why we have so many of those attacks that take place in Yellowstone, even though they microchip or put GPS trackers on every single grizzly bear that's ever born out there. They try to keep tabs on them all. There's still attacks that take place. They're not able to mitigate all attacks. And so, but then it's like if you kill a bear, he'll be in prison for 25 years or something. It's ridiculous. PA has incentivized the data centers. Oh, they all have. Every single State of the Union has incentivized the data centers. I've been told that the black bears pass through areas. They travel and just pass through areas. Yeah. Um, I repeated myself again. Yeah, you did. That's funny. Oh, yeah. Cougars are like that. Mountain lions, cougars, pumas. They. I remember reading years ago that they will travel up to 500 miles. I think it's even further than that. They just, and that's the only reason we have mountain lions that come around here from time to time. But one of the things I really appreciate, I do not advocate violating the laws. I try to not do that myself. I try to obey the laws as much as possible, so that I walk peaceably among men and not have to deal with the legal system or the criminal system. But I am thankful that there are men that do not as I do, because when they see a wolf, they're going to kill it. I've been in a tree stand bow hunting and seen wolves, and it's like, I'm not gonna. I would like to kill them, but it's illegal. So I'm not going to kill them, but I'm not going to report it either, because if you report that you've seen a wolf and you can verify that, then the nature Nazis will put a moratorium on all trapping of coyotes, because there's a danger that you could trap the wolf, because they want to protect the wolf. It's like, what kind of a nation protects a predator, a wild predator? That's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Oh, and so I'm pretty sure that one of the farmers out here or other deer hunters got rid of that wolf. Because if you protect the wolf and you allow the coyotes to not be trapped and to start multiplying, they multiply in a short amount of time. You're going to have a very bad problem, especially out here in the farmlands where a lot of people have chickens. And a lot of people have small dogs, and a lot of people, the coyotes are wildly afraid of man out here. They try to stay as far away from man as they can. They dwell in all the far reaches of places. They only come out at night. Very rarely. I think it's only mating season sometimes where you might see a coyote in the daytime, but they very rarely come out in the day. They almost always come out at night. And so the most effective way to kill them is to trap them. And so there's a lot of trappers that'll trap the coyotes and either club them on the head or put a 22 through their head or something and end them, which is a good way to balance. But they had completely wiped out the coyotes in this area. I think it was back in the 1920s or maybe even earlier. But this whole area, they had just wiped them out completely. There was no more coyotes, and it was a very effective strategy. The farmers put treble hooks on the fence posts with rotten or rancid meat, and the coyotes would go to eat the meat, and they'd get that hook stuck in their jaw, and then they were stuck to the fence post, and then the farmers would come along and knock them dead with a club, and they wiped them all out. And so the Department of Natural Resources came in and protected the coyotes as they released them back into the ecosystem, which caused some major problems. And then they've become so bad that there's no season for coyotes. You can kill them any time of the year now with any weapon. They just want them gone because they're causing problems. But I've heard it said, there's no problem or situation so bad that government can't make worse. And I think there might be some truth to that. Too much development. Yeah, that's cruel. The injured coyote. When did you put the short out about the injured coyote? I'm trying to think. Was that last winter? Sounds familiar. I've seen a couple of videos with an injured coyote. I have another channel. The channel name is Scott W. And that's the channel I use where I subscribe to, a couple of hunting channels and how to fix it channels. I put a few videos out on how to do certain things and fix certain things. But I'm not really motivated to do that unless it's something that I think is not easy information for people to attain, and then I'll put out a video. Like I did one video, I think my first one on that channel was changing a water inlet valve on a Maytag washing machine. And I, there's a few things about it that I could not find information because there just wasn't any videos available. So I produced a video to show people. And yeah, if you look up like how to change a water inlet valve on a Maytag, you'll probably find my other channel, Scott W. It's only got like 340 subscribers or something. It's not very big. And I'm not super active on that channel. But yeah, I know I've seen some shorts videos on that channel with coyotes that were wounded, and one guy, he just kind of gave me an eye roll emoji when I said, "Well, I hope you put them out of our misery." And don't get me wrong, I do not think that we should wipe out an extinct smaller prey animals like that. I think that we need to keep them afraid of us. But I also think that some of the scavengers are very important in the ecosystem where man dwells so that they can help to be the garbage collectors. You know, the process. I will, uh, when I kill a deer, I leave the carcass in the corner of my woods and the scavengers come and pick it apart. You know, the bones, and I don't do the pelts. I kind of wish that I had, but I just never really took to doing the tanning of the hides. But yeah, I'm not going to kill them all off. If they pose a problem for me, you know, I have a kind of soft spot for foxes, and I don't really like what they do to some other, productive farmers in the area, being a problem for their chickens or whatever. But I do, I we've had fox dens right across the street from me, my neighbor's house, and I pulled around the corner one day, and there was, I think it was like 5 or 6 baby foxes that had just come out of the den for their first time, and they were so cute. They were fluffy. They're little fox puppies. That's kind of, and things like, and they are so adorable. It's like you just want to touch them. You just want to, play with them because they're like dogs, right? So I don't know. I would have a hard time killing a fox just because, I wouldn't kill them just to kill them. But I wouldn't have a hard time killing them if they were a problem. Bobcats is another thing we have around here. I think it'd be cool to have a bobcat, but I don't think it's cool to let them have free reign without being killed, or put the fear of man in. About a month ago, I'm sure I've seen it. I've seen, I think, every video that you put out since I found your channel, which was over a year ago now, or close to a year ago. I've got your video up in another tab. Keep real life. I'll check it out when this is over. Foxes are neat. Yeah, I like foxes. I saw a post showing the paw of a grizzly bear that had been sedated. It was gigantic. I was I was aware grizzlies are large, but wow, that paw size. Yeah, yeah. Grizzly bears are a force to be reckoned with. Imagine how it was when dragons were around. They call them dinosaurs now, but man had to kill off those dragons because they were a huge danger to the communities. And a lot of people think, and this is kind of what we've been propagandized to believe, that dragons were mythological creatures, but that's absolutely not true. We have evidence of every single continent in the earth of records of men fighting dragons. They weren't called dinosaurs, they were called dragons. The name dinosaur wasn't even invented until I think it was around the 1830s. If I remember correctly, it was 1834. I don't remember the name of the uh, the scientists that came up with the name, but they invented the name dinosaur and put that onto what was formerly called dragons. And one of the things that is kind of an obvious thing that people should consider is the Chinese calendar only has animals that are real, not mythological. All of their calendar animals are animals the year of the rabbit, the year of the lion, the year of the dragon. In fact, there's Chinese records of emperors having dragon keepers, meaning they were literally keeping dragons in captivity. Okay, why would you have a dragon keeper? Dragons are mythological. And God's words even speak of a couple of large beasts which we don't know of today, and because they have been wiped out, extinct, or gone into the far reaches. Stegosaurus has been discovered in the Congo, and they're not as large as they used to be pre-flood. For biological reasons, they can't become as large as they used to. But something a lot of people don't know about reptiles is reptiles never stop growing from the time that they are born until the time they die. They continue to grow. And so if a reptile, any reptile, a lizard, a snake, a crocodile, an alligator, every single reptile will never stops growing until it dies. And so if it can live to be 500 years old, it becomes very, very large and formidable. And I think that that's probably one of the things that they had to kill them off, the larger reptiles, the ones that got the biggest, because um, they would be a major danger. And the most valiant of the warriors would fight the dragons. And the dragons would come against them. They didn't flee because they have a lot more power than man does. And I think it's just a suspicion of mine that the towns, whenever people were threatened by dragons, they would have to go to their dens and kill their babies, kill their young, to stop them from producing. To nip it in the bud, if you will. Okay. Oh, good night, Under Duress, Dean and KIR. Oh, keeping it real. Yeah, Charles. Um, Thanks for a nice chat this evening. Hey, thanks for stopping by. I'm gonna end the stream here anyway. It's getting late. I do have to work tomorrow. The stars are beautiful. I wish you could see them on the phone. I don't think you'll be able to though. Oh, there you can see one twinkling star. There's like hundreds of them that are visible, but the camera's only picking up one there. Might pick up one over there. Maybe picking up that one. Yeah, it's not picking up any of them hardly. one or two of the brighter ones. That's about it. Hey, good night, Dean. Good night, Charles, and good night, Marie. I hope you guys have a good evening and catch you on the next one. Peace.